This video demonstrates how to use MATLAB for arithmetic computations. Through this video, you should be able to understand how to assign values to a variable. First, let's get familiar with the data representation in MATLAB using variables. Variables are the symbols of data in a programming language. Each variable has a unique name. Typically, the name starts with a letter and follows with alphanumerical characters. In MATLAB, you can also use underscore in the variable name. For example, A123 and A underscore B are valid names. However, 1A, E question mark are not valid names because 1A starts with the number 1 and E question mark has an invalid character question mark in the name. You should always use a name that can describe the nature of the data as its variable name. For example, patient ID. So it is clear that the data represented by patient ID is the identification number of a patient. MATLAB name can have up to 63 characters. Extra characters in the name will be ignored. MATLAB name is also case sensitive, which means that the same letter with a different case represents a different name. For example, a variable with the name capital A is different from a variable with the name smaller a. Assignment is the operation to associate the variable name with the data. Equal character is the assignment operator. MATLAB computes the mass expression on the right of the operator and associates the result with the variable name on the left of the operator. For example, in the command window, you can enter A equals 1, which means it assigns the value 1 to variable A. And also, we can do a small a equals 1, or in this case, I will change this to 2, and it will become the second variable, even though they're both letter A, so you can see the effect of the case sensitivity in MATLAB. Capital A and small a are different variables. Next, let's look at the MATLAB functions. This is a website from MathWorks that has a list of functions. And what we're going to look at is a logarithm function here. And we will have the natural logarithm function, base 10 logarithm function, and base 2 logarithm function. Also, we have trigonometric functions here. And the three most used trigonometric functions are sine, cosine, and tangent. And we can also find the inverse trigonometric functions here, like arcsine, arccosine, and arctangent. Another frequently used function is the natural exponential function, and its name is exp. For example, if I type in exp parenthesis 1, which means it's e to the power of 1. And if I enter, we will get this value, 2.7183. Just a note, we didn't provide a variable name in this expression, and in this case, MATLAB will use a temporary variable called ANS to hold the value, and you can see it in the workspace. The basic data unit in MATLAB is array. Here we limit our computation to the array element by element operation. That is, we perform the same computation on the data element at the same location in the arrays in the mass expression. Thus, the arrays in the mass expression should be the same size. You usually need to add dot before the operator of multiplication, division, and power to indicate that the operation is element by element. Here is the example. If I have a variable that holds 3 values, they are pi over 6, pi over 4, and pi over 3. The pi is 3.1415. And the next, we'll calculate the sine function of the 3x values. So we'll say y equals sine x. So we will perform the sine function on the 3 values. And here we go. Next, we're going to work on a more complicated expression. And this expression is 5e to the negative x times sine 4x plus 2 times e to the negative x times cosine 4x. Now, here is the expression. So I will use the variable z to hold the value. So it starts with 5 multiplies e to the negative x, and the next I will use the dot multiplication and the sine 4 times x plus 2 e times exp negative x and times cosine 4 times x. So let me explain a little bit here. So in this expression, there's a multiplication here, here, and also here and here. Now, because this is a scalar value, so if we do multiplication to an array, so it will multiply each element in the array with the same scalar value. And however, for this exp negative x, it will produce 3 values, and it is an array. This is the same for the sine 4x, so there will be 2 arrays with 3 elements. So there will be an element by element operation. In order to do that, we use a dot before the multiplication sign. So same thing for the next item. So when we hit enter, we'll get those values. And also the next what we're going to do is to assign a x with a different value. For example, is 1, 2, 3. Okay, and in this case, what I'm going to do is to calculate a polynomial x squared plus 2x plus 1. And this is how it works. So if I do still use the z as the variable to hold the value, is x, because it's in the array, and when we do the power operator, which is the hat character, and it's power of 2, and plus 2 times x, because this 2 is a scalar. In this case, there's no need to put a dot there. If you put a dot there, it's okay, but there's no need in this case, and then plus 1. If we hit enter, you will get the answer. There will be 3 values. It's 4, 9, 16.